It's not a surprise that you asked this question. We are really at the moment in the heart of the interest all over the world about this summit. It will be just for 24 hours, 15th and 16th of June. And I have to be frank, I mean, it's quite a challenge. We decided to take over this task, but we are not naive. I mean, we know that it's just the first step. It's mentioned like a peace process, that's clear, but it's as well clear that during these 24 hours there will be not the decision, and we will find that solution, not at all. The big issue is at the moment that from the western part of the world, a lot of important leaders are coming. They confirmed as well from the EU, from the EU member states, from the EU as such, G20, G8. But the big issue is a little bit global south. And this is exactly the group, and there I mentioned specifically the group, I discussed it before, the BRICS group, and BRICS R is Russia. So it can be, it's not very, it's quite logical that specifically this group, the Russians, are not interested in that specifically from these countries, either representatives will be there. And so specifically regarding India, South Africa, China, it's still open, or they decided not to come. But it's between about, we say at the moment, a little bit more than 80 countries will be present. Zelenskyy, I think, mentioned 106. It's still open, but the important issue is at the end who will be there, the level, and that will be decided in the last minute. You know, perhaps from the US side, at least the Vice President will coming, and the security advisor. That is quite important. But we are aware that it's a challenge. It's clear as well that the Russians are not interested that this summit will be a success. Russia is not invited, but for us it's just to show as well the world that we are ready to organize this event. I told already to you before, a good friend of mine, he's deputy head of the protocol. He has almost nothing to sleep at the moment. It's quite a challenge, as we all know. But I think it's important that Switzerland, with our background, that we are ready to be present to organize this event. But it's clearly it's a hot potato, and it's a huge problem. And I think that is important, even for you in the Philippines, that this war is really has huge consequences all over the world. I have to say, it was before in South Africa as an ambassador is similar. It's interesting the word they use. For example, your president yesterday, when he had discussion with Zelenskyy, he were using the word crisis, not war. So there are different perceptions like this. But for us, specifically being in Europe, it's a war, and the consequences are heavy. But even here, when I see the prices are going up, and it's all over the world, we cannot say we are too far away. It's not interesting for us, not at all. And so, in this regard, specifically for Switzerland, it's important to show that we can play a role. But as I said, we are quite realistic that what we can do. But we are ready to organize this event, and we will see at the last moment then who will be there. But it's really the first step for other developments, really to find a solution for this situation we have in Europe, which affects the whole world. Thank you so much. Some people really, they say why they should be there, but I think it's important as well for Ukraine as such, you know, and we do it as well for Ukraine, and for them it's really the interest that the quantity, how many, that a lot of countries are there, and it's not exactly the level who is counting, but officially the country is there. And I think, as I told before, you cannot say it's too far away, this part of the world is completely separated. That's not true. And I think to show as well to the Russian side, to the other side, that so that there is a common global interest, and we know exactly there are huge problems. That's no question about. But to show as well as a signal that a lot of countries are really interested in, and not only the Western ones, because then they say, typical. There's always the Westerns, and specifically with the US. and the rest is way. So for us, I think, for the majority and for Zelenskyy specifically, I think it's really to have a lot of people from Global South as well. And we have to say as well that the role of Global South is growing. I mean, I had always an understanding, and I grew up that US and the Western countries are the number ones, but that is changing completely. And when you speak a lot of people, they realize it, specifically the young generation, and I think that's something new in diplomacy. And I think unfortunately, this war is a concrete example that the countries from the Global South play a really important role, independently the size of these countries. And I think the Philippines could prove that as well when they are there as an official delegate.